Osio, Doichu, Dodo Kuno Hali Danadahanagisi. Hello and how are you? This is Chief Eagle Spirit Dancing of the Cherokee Blackfeet Cultural Circle. Um, it's been a while since I posted a video. Uh, Reasons being, I had problems with my account. I had to make some minor adjustments. I didn't know that they had deleted, you know, my account, or they made some changes, and I had to make some adjustments myself personally. So, and every time I tried to get on, I was booted off. So, um, hopefully, that's not the case today. And so far, I've reached the 55-second mark. So, it looks good so far. But the last video that I touched on, or the issues that I touched on, with regards to some people who were making some negative comments, towards me and my claims of black Indians, red Indians, and some people telling me I need to get over it and move on. And I know I hear what they're saying, but I will not cater to such derogatory comments made against me, because, and the reason why I say that is because, what people don't know is that the reason I bring up color, I don't like to. It's just all around us today. The reason I bring it up is because of people who I have come across who have been hurt by racism, especially, myself personally, being black and native, um, and not knowing that I was native until I was 25, but had experienced racism prior to that growing up. I'm 45 years old. Growing up in my early teens, I experienced racism at the age of 12, 13 years old. And furthermore, to the latter part of my teens, almost into my early 20s, I've experienced racism. So when I speak on these issues, it's coming from a personal perspective and from people who I have come across who have laid bare their stories to me and told me things that have happened to them as black Indians, particularly in this country. Um, so I felt it was necessary for me to expound on these issues, because in order to solve a problem, you have to get to the root of it. And what a lot of people don't understand is that some people won't talk about it because they feel it's an unnecessary um, subject to um, to expound or to talk about. I look, my heart is a humble one. If you reach out to me, I reach out to you. I really don't care what color you are. That's not the issue. But a people who are crying in the dark, reaching for some substance, um, whether they're black, they're brown, red, yellow, or people who have been lost, unidentified, misidentified, thrown to the wayside, who are trying to find themselves, and in doing so dig up, fragments and pieces of culture in their past, and they want to identify with something. Such is the case with a lot of black indigenous in this country. You know, we most black Indians don't have the resources or money to say, "Oh, go back to Africa." They don't have the money to go back to Africa. And I did touch on this in one of my other videos briefly. I wanted to speak on it again because we are a cultural people. The darker peoples are a cultural people. We have, and I'm not alienating, other cultures, maybe European cultures or other peoples, but between indigenous cultures and so-called African cultures, some of our ways were so similar. The way we lived, the way we treated each other, the ways were similar. And I'll say this, with no reservation, because when the Europeans came to the indigenous peoples here in North America, we opened our arms to them. When the Europeans went to Africa, the Africans opened their arms to them. And we've seen what has happened. So they want to argue, sit there and argue and say, oh, well, how do you know that their ways? Because we let them in. We were a humble people for the most part. Then later on, we changed because we realized the people that we were humble with and to, they didn't return in kind what we gave to them. They turned our kindness with returned our kindness with brutality and barbarism. So of course now they can claim and say, "Oh, you people for the past 150 years were brutal." Yeah, you made us this way. But now here we are today, arguing and fussing and fighting because we have been chopped up and divided amongst other cultures of people, but not drawing within ourselves that which is essentially good, and that is the ways that we once were and how we live, which is more important than anything external. We must resort back to our cultural ways of living towards one another. Now we have been changed outwardly. All of us do not look the same. And I would go so far as to say, even you go back 500 years, all of the tribes didn't look the same. And we had problems amongst our own peoples then. We did war against each other. We didn't have long, drawn out yearly battles, that lasted years. It didn't happen like that. We settled our differences ultimately, but it didn't go on, eternally. Uh, we had limited wars and conflicts that were settled. So there are people who would think, would like to believe that we were barbaric. I've read some of the comments. Some people say, "Oh, we were brutal." Yeah, some of us were, because we were made this way after the Europeans came here. We were turned inside out by these people. There were things that were unheard of. Now people say, "Well, how do you know this?" All right, if I give a prime example, serial killers, schizophrenics. Let's see what else can I come up with. Pedophiles, um, mass murderers, killing people for no reason at all, just for nothing. We did not do these things. Nowhere in our recorded history can you find any such madness uh, bathed, amongst our people. You won't find that. And I'll challenge anyone today to come on my page to tell me otherwise. Where will you find something like that our people engaged in these sorts of behaviors? You will never find such a thing. And this is a part of the change that we've gone through amongst indoctrinations, amongst another people who are alien and foreign to us. I'm not saying all of them were like this, but it seems the society that we live in. Look at today and what's going on. You know, um, mass killings, innocent people by white men. I mean, what's that all about? Because your mama didn't hug you enough when you was a little boy. Come on, we've all gone through that. I was adopted. Please, please. I ain't never thought about picking up no gun and going killing innocent people. Not even people who I don't like. So there's a serious um, psychosis that exists, within a certain group of people that it didn't exist within ours. Again, you cannot find this history um, with our people. If we did fight and kill each other, it was over something, and it wasn't nothing petty. So you know, again, this is just a commentary, on the some of the negative comments, that I have received um, with regards to some people who are telling me that I'm trying to institute Afrocentrism into indigenous culture. just ridiculous. Afrocentric. I keep telling people, look, there's a book called Stolen Legacy by George James. I suggest anyone out there who knows anything about so-called Afrocentricity, go read it. There's almost black people running around here don't even know what Afrocentricity is. There were so many cultures of tribes, just like here in North America, in so-called Africa. And there were cities in the continent of Africa, just like there were cities here in the continent of North and South America. But you would have asked, you go back to the continent of so-called Africa 500 years ago, and you told a brother who lived in Senegal or Gambia he was African, he'd look at you like you were strange. What is that? What is African? They don't even know. They don't even know. There's a term that was made up by Europeans who so-called discovered the continent. His name was Scipius Africanus. He was a Greek, just like Columbus. Hello. And they renamed the continent after they, over time, because of the resources and the wealth in Africa, from going back from the time of Alexander, Romans, they coveted what they saw in Africa. They wanted it. You know, over time, they conquered different parts of it, even all the way up into the British. Yes, I said to the 1940s, the 1950s, when they created apartheid in South Africa. Who did that? There's no Indians did that. There's no black people responsible for that. That was the European British who did that. When people want to point fingers at me and say that I'm trying to institute Afrocentrism into indigenous culture. Please, when our brothers were kidnapped from the motherland and brought over here, they saw similarities in the culture within indigenous peoples, and some of them clung to that, and some of them absorbed themselves entirely into the culture, and some of them did bring some of their cultural ideas, and the indigenous peoples welcomed some of their accentuations into the indigenous tribes. They welcomed it with open arms. They said the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So blacks and Indians, you know, or should I say the browns, because most of the Indians were dark brown. Some of them very dark skinned. Some people argue and say, "Oh, it's a photo." You know, it's the old photo technology of that day that caused for their skin to look so dark. I disagree with that. But again, not getting too, you know, or caught up in or devolve into the color issue again. Just want to, you know, get on the issue at hand, which again, people who are making such negative and derogatory comments on my page. And for those of you who are too ignorant to understand, I'm going to say this once, stay off my page, period. And for my brothers and sisters who hear what I'm saying, who understand, you know, what I'm trying to do and, you know, get across, I appreciate you. I love you. And biker chick, I got you. I got you. Got you. Um, Nothing but love here. Nothing but love. Nothing but love. Nigido. Nigido. Peace and blessings. Um, I want to finish off by saying the next video I'm going to do after I finish this one, it's going to touch on, I spoke about this in one of the other videos, UFOs and indigenous peoples around the world. Ooh, yeah, UFOs. And say, what's that all about? I'm going to tell you, I've come into some information, you know, by my research. I have been studying for so long. You know, Jesus once said that you take 2 steps towards me, you take 1 step towards me and I'll take 2 steps towards you. You know, I used to wonder about that when I read, you know, some of the scriptures. I read the Bible. I read, you know, from A to Z, read the whole book. And, you know, there was some significant information in there. You know, and I took from it some very wise phrases and sayings that my brother left for us today that's still relevant and significant. So, but also in there it talks about the UFO phenomena. Phenomena meaning you can't explain it. That's all the phenomena means. We can't explain it. UFOs, unidentified, flying objects. What are they? Again, I'm going to close this out, and I'll see you in the next video. No, 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 honey, I need to go. This is Chief Eagle Spirit.